So welcome back into another One Piece card game video, and today we're going to continue some of these fringe slash rogue decks. If you haven't checked it out, we just did Ace and as well as Sabo, two very fun leaders. Honestly, they have pretty unique things going for them, and today we're going to go through something that's a little less unique, and that is OP05 Smoker. See, any deck that is black or has the capability of playing black cards has really been taken a back seat or been on the back burner simply because of Sakazuki. See, the reason why is because a lot of black decks up from, OP02 and now have been a little clunky, a little harder to use. It's not as fast as other decks, and in the North American meta, a lot of the decks really like to do things fast and efficiently. That kind of leads over to Smoker, where the problem that Sakazuki solves is that you can filter through a lot of different things and you have reduction on your face, as in you're not really spending anything to get that cost reduction. Smoker is very situational. See, with him, of course, you have to place a Don underneath. You have to have something that is a zero cost in order to get that 7k swing, similar to Katakuri, but with Katakuri, you don't have to do anything. With Smoker, you have to work for it. One of the reasons why I wanted to explore him is mainly because I wanted to explore other black decks. There's an engine there now with Rebecca and with Hina and with a bunch of other stuff that really play well with each other. And because of this, I think a lot of black decks have gotten a good boost through OP05. Smoker specifically with Rebecca and Hina now have a really good engine for defense, offense, and cost reduction in order to get your leader effect consistently. Of course, you play all the other Navy stuff and all the good stuff that is in black, but now you just have a little bit of a better engine and consistency. Now, the real question is, again, do you play this versus Sakazuki, which is objectively a better deck with Houndblaze and a bunch of other blue cards, or do you just stick with the black deck that focuses on removal, very straightforward, and relatively consistent? See, if we take a look at the deck list that I've created, it's pretty traditional, right? However, again, now with OP05, we have a bunch of new cooler cards, and OP04 has helped with that as well, with the Sabo and a couple other cards that you could throw in there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the Navy pool, along with just black in general, but really the focus of this deck is in order to get a decent amount of defense, focus on the cost reduction, and have a lot of options for removal. And that's the whole, deal with the format right now. I think it's very cost and board removal heavy. And, I think that Smoker does pretty well to get to those points. We have Kuzan, which is an easy one, helps you against the yellow matchup, which is pretty difficult to be honest, and a bunch of other stuff like red, purple, Luffy, and just in general, it's just really good to replace the card itself. It helps with the leader effect, minus anything for cost, but now we do have the Hina, which plays off of the Rebecca, and I've talked about this quite a lot before. Now that you have a -4 effect, we did actually have, if you take a look at some of the newer OP05 cards, along with the event cards, I think what is it called? Obviously, we have the Gum Gum Bell from the starter deck, which just like whatever about. That kind of guarantees your leader effect, but it's not really worth the slot. Oh, the Patchwork event card. So give up to one of your opponent's character cards with the -3 costs, or one of your opponent's cards -3 costs. And then if you have an opponent's character with cost of 0, it isn't set to active to next refresh phase, which is a very unique thing. We usually see that in green, but this being in black is very surprising, and it's a 1 cost -3 with your leaders of -4, so it covers a big range, right? It doesn't really cover like that Gadatsu or that 5 cost range or like Queen or something like that, but it does does cover like things in purple Luffy. It does cover things like Pharaoh Sparrow, things like that, any of the 3 costs. But that's an idea. We did go with the Ice Age instead, because objectively -5 is better. It helps with your Rob Lucci, it helps with your Kobe, it helps with your Sakazuki, literally for everything. And then we have the top end for Kuzan that helps with literally everything as well. We have the 6 pistol, simply because it just, you know, you have so many uncounterable cards. Great Eruption is really good just to cycle through. The fake Sakazuki effect, you can probably go through 3 on this one, honestly. It's just the trigger is just not that great. It is very situational, and sometimes on the offense, because it is a trigger, your opponent doesn't really care about pitching a card that they're not going to use that turn anyway. But it is good to have, again, for the new Rob Lucci. And now the other parts of this is that, like, you kind of have to also build through and build your trash in order to get the most advantage of Rebecca and as well as Rob Lucci. And again, for Sabo, we'll do that for you along with your brand news, right? So these things on curve and as well as early on are going to really help you filter through some of the cards that have no counter power and traditionally just hasn't been that great to be in hand when you're playing black in general, right? But overall, hopefully you can kind of see where I'm going with this, where you are playing the good cards in black, the good navy cards, and as well as just things that help your leader effect. The Man Sherry is not bad, but really just there in order to support Rebecca, to support Rob Lucci, to support Borsellino, anything that you really need within that 3 to 5 black character range. And it is pretty cool. It is a quite the pool in order to get. And if you play Sakazuki, you would know. But this engine in general, and just in general, like, it's not too bad. But is it worth playing another black character outside of Sakazuki? See, I feel that it is worth exploring. I think Smoker offers a different experience when it comes to black because, you know, you have to kind of think about your plays and as well as how that plays into your leader. Unfortunately, it is situational effect. It is a situational effect that only gives you a 1,000 power boost. But it does help. And again, it is a targeted reduction effect on face. So that is something that you don't really get too often outside of a handful of leaders anyway. Definitely let me know what you think about the deck list in the comments, and as well as subscribe if you're new. I do see those views. Please go ahead and do it. Stop clicking on these videos and not subscribing. Let's take a look at that gameplay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start out with good old Katakuri, and we're going second, which is great. If we're going first, it's a little more awkward. They usually want to go second. In our hand, it's definitely telling us to go second. You know, Sabo helps with going first, but you know, you really do want these Borsellinos in your hand, and probably Sakazuki, honestly, because there are a few targets for that to pop, like Gadatsu and things like that, and Borsellino prevents those pops at the very least too. So we have 3 Borsellinos, 2 Sakazuki, 2 Rebecca's, and 1 Sabo. Apparently the sim is only allowing us to see it one part of our deck, which is great. But we're gonna swing a good old 5 here. He's gonna waste a 2, which is good for us, and most likely just playing a Borsellino and passing. So the only downside of playing Borsellino, which is not really too many, like there's not very many things they can interact or use to interact with us, thankfully enough. But Thunderbolt is pretty annoying. So, you know, sometimes I'm pretty tempted to swing with our Borsellino later into the, or throughout the game, I should say. So we're gonna go ahead and use the 7k swing after using his plethora of 1 and 2 costs. He's also playing Soul Pocus, so this is probably not a list that's super common. Maybe this is just a list that he's created, whoever's playing this is created or has created. I'm tempted to trash a life, but I think we ended up just giving him a life. It's not too big of a deal, I don't think, anyway. So we grant him a life. He's gonna swing 8 to go over Borsellino as well as Sabo, which I don't really care too much about that. We have 8 Dawn, so we have a couple of options. Oh, this one has the old shit in it. God damn it. All right, so we're gonna start out with good old Sakazuki. Thankfully, we chose to go second, so we did open a brand new, and choosing the Kuzan because Rebecca can technically get back all these other guys, playing Kuzan on curve to replace itself, and making them Hound Blaze it out is not too much of a bad idea. At least we'll have the brand new if that's the case. Yeah, he just went in and swung with 6. Not too crazy about my hand right now, only because we have so many cards that are that have no counter, which is good that we have the 6 King Pistol, but you know, at the same time, throughout the game, I'm gonna need some sort of counter power somewhere. We do have a Sabo, which is good because we can pitch our Hina and literally anything else. He did go ahead and Hound Blaze, like I said before. It's just something that's expected. He did play the Tashigi out, which means my brand new can probably just swing into it, along with our leader as well. It really just depends on what I want to do here. We could Great Eruption. Yeah, Great Eruption, the Tashigi. Make sure that we have 3 in drop as well, or in trash as well. And then we can just pop both of them and not really worry about it. So we went ahead and chose the Mandatory. We're back in another one since we can't really get those back from the trash. Then we can just draw back them or draw them out. So he plays out the Borsellino. It's for 7. I counter out the next attack. So we have a couple of options here. We actually, I was gonna Sabo and then go from there, but since we have the Borsellino or the Ice Age, we're just gonna Ice Age into Sakazuki and then pitch the Hina, so that way we have a something else into it. Oh, we pitched the the Kuzan. I see now. Pitch the Kuzan, most likely because if we do draw into Rebecca, we can just play out the Hina, reduce the costs, get the leader effect pretty well there. He's going to go ahead and reduce my costs, which is not fun. And I think we're just going to maybe play out the Hina. No option to reduce costs, unfortunately. Play out the Hina first to get the Sabo effect, and then swing 8 since the Hina reduced the other Hina. So we're going to go ahead and force them to have another Hound Blaze or something else. We're seeing 2. So, hey, that's good. That's good for us. We have 3 Tashigi, and we can't really, it's not really much to do with that. So the goal here is to probably just survive and then play out Kuzan. Him swinging out 5s here is kind of sketch because he might use all 10 of his Dawn, which means Kaido comes down. Oh, doesn't look like it. Wow, that's very excessive. So I use my entire hand just simply because I would like to keep the Sabo as another swing, potentially, as well as just for defense. So we get to play out the Kuzan. We have the Sabo, got the brand new swing that he didn't counter out of, which is good. Because we had 2 swings there, technically. And then he's going to use quite a lot of resources just to get rid of this Kuzan, which is, per usual, very annoying. There's a 5. That's a easy one. Oh, right. Okay, so we're just not getting rid of that. Okay, so just a good old rage quit for some reason. So obviously with the Sabo, you can't really get rid of the Kuzan without swinging into it. I had 3 cards without counter power. So like he was probably gonna be able to block obviously 2 of these swings, but one of these swings are probably to get it in. And we drew into the Rob Lucci, so we can pop the Kuzan. So that Kuzan was gone for sure. So that is something. But we couldn't get rid of the Borsellinos, unfortunately. So I think there was some more play in this game for sure. I don't think he needed to rage quit there. But I think the matchup is doable depending on who sees Sabo, depending on who gets a board and establishes a board late. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not really too much else to it. There's so much variance when it comes to playing against and as Sakazuki. So you're gonna have to play it by ear. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this Zoro game. They went first, so thankfully we get to go second. Not like the most incredible hand, to be honest, to go second. We do draw into a Kuzan, which is gonna be pretty nifty and useful. We're gonna counter out pretty early here. I think I should have just used the Tashigi since we can get it back. he does the unthinkable by pitching multiple cards to save his 1 cost. I don't really agree with that, but maybe those cards in trash were just not that great anyway. So with the Kuzan out, we do now have easy reduction for our leader effect, and as well now for Rob Lucci, which is nice. We're going to use leader effect now to bait out a couple of things. One, if he wants to waste more cards, and that's cool with me, but that's not going to happen here. We're just going to use the Rob Lucci to get rid of both. We have 2 Ice Ages, which is not really too useful. We're trying to keep the Sabo here because we want to get those Ice Ages out of our hand. It's not very useful against this leader and the way that they play. So he plays 2 Gordon. Not really too big of a fan of some of the choices here so far with our Zoro player here, but you know, I could be wrong. I could have got the Hina there, but I think going to Borsellino with counter power is going to be better because we get to play the Borsellino out later. And what we did here is just swing out. The downside is that we might swing into a jet pistol, but with the Sabo effect, it kind of gets rid of that sort of caution. Another 6K swing here, and another one. Just get rid of my Borsalinos, I suppose. And then another 7K swing. I think what we're going to do is try to play cleanup and then pop the last guy with Kuzan. And I'm playing some defense here because I really do want the... I was like, what is that? Oh, it's the new... This new Gung Gung Gong Gatling. I'm trying to play defense so that way we have our options. We draw into a Hina after we have Rebecca, which is pretty sick. And then what we're gonna do is play Rebecca out, get the Borsellino, play the Hina out from the Rebecca, play the Borsellino after, and I think we're sitting pretty. This is it. This is all you need to do. You round tables into swinging into my Kuzan, which I was pretty petty. And blocked with it. I don't know why I didn't block the other one, but I guess I was just saying, I was just like, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna go ahead and just go for it. So he went ahead and conceded, just because we were just gonna be able to swing out from there. Our life wasn't that amazing. At least we have another Rob Lucci. That really does help this matchup because there's so many things that we can pop. And Borsalinos are just super clutch. It's just good old OP02, OP03 type thing. You know, those are the good black cards. And that's what I was saying. Like, there's nothing too unique about this build, and as well as this leader, because it's just kind of generically black. And it's not too bad at all. I think that'll do it for this video. If you want to see more gameplay, go ahead and follow me on Twitch. It is in the description below, or watch out for my YouTube streams that I've been trying to do. So if you see this video, I'm most likely streaming. If not, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.